Do you remember rushing to the TV, hoping to catch your favorite show before the opening credits rolled? Back in the 80s, TV wasn't just entertainment, it was an event. Saturday mornings were sacred. Weekday evenings were spent glued to the screen, and remote controls were fought over like gold. But some of those beloved shows have slipped through the cracks of memory. Join us today as we dive deep into 10 forgotten TV shows from the 80s that shaped us in ways we didn't even realize.
December 6, 1941, Pearl Harbor, right on target.
Tomorrow that'll be a bad show.
Whether they dazzled us with futuristic tech, made us laugh with campy humor, or transported us across time and space, these hidden gems left their mark, even if they only lasted a season or two. Number 10. The Great American Hero, 1981 to 1983. Kicking off our list is The Great American Hero. Picture this. Ralph Hinckley, an ordinary high school teacher, stumbles upon a superpowered alien suit that could make him the next big superhero. But there's only one tiny problem. He loses the instruction manual. With no clue how to fly, fight, or even land gracefully, Ralph fumbles his way through one chaotic rescue after another, leaving us with some of the funniest superhero moments in TV history. What made the show unforgettable was its mix of action, comedy, and a hero who was refreshingly human. While other superheroes were busy saving the day in style,
you gotta run like 3 steps and jump with your hands out in front of you.
Ralph was the lovable goof who just couldn't catch a break, and that made him relatable. And let's not forget about the show's iconic theme song, Believe It or Not. Even today, a single listen will transport you back to the days when superheroes could stumble their way to greatness. Though it only lasted 3 seasons, The Great American Hero left an impact that's lived on through reruns and nostalgia-fueled hearts. For 80s kids, Ralph's misadventures weren't just entertaining. They were a reminder that sometimes even heroes need a little trial and error. Number 9. Automan, 1983 to 1984. Automan was a show that was light years ahead of its time, a sci-fi gem born in an era just beginning to embrace technology. The story followed Walter Nebuchar, a police officer and computer genius who creates a holographic crime-fighting program that miraculously comes to life. Automan wasn't your average superhero. He could walk through walls, turn corners at impossible 90-degree angles, and pull off feats that had audiences questioning the laws of physics. Although it only lasted 12 episodes, Automan stood out for its vision of the future and its groundbreaking use of early CGI, effects that were mind-blowing at the time, even if they look a little dated today. The dynamic between Walter and Automan gave the show heart and humor, transforming it from a mere effects showcase into a series with personality. For fans of retro futuristic TV, Automan is a must-watch, offering a glimpse of the 80s tech dreams before they became reality. Whether you're revisiting it or discovering it for the first time, it's a nostalgic reminder of when the digital frontier seemed limitless and a little bit magical. Number 8. Small Wonder, 1985 to 1989. Small Wonder was the quirky love child of science fiction and family sitcom charm. At the heart of the show was Vicky, a robot built by her inventor dad, Ted Lawson, to look like an ordinary 10-year-old girl. But Vicky was anything but ordinary. She had superhuman strength, lightning-fast data processing, and a monotone voice that somehow made her even more charming. The Lawson family's mission? To keep Vicky's robotic nature a secret from nosy neighbors, leading to a series of hilariously awkward situations. Despite its bizarre premise, Small Wonder ran for 4 seasons, becoming one of the most unusual and beloved shows of the decade. Vicky's robotic quirks made for endless comedy, but beneath the sci-fi surface, it was a story about family navigating everyday challenges.
Grown man playing with a doll at work?
While protecting an extraordinary secret. It's not every day you see a sitcom mix domestic life with robots, but Small Wonder somehow pulled it off, creating a show that was as charming as it was weird. For kids who grew up in the 80s, Vicky's antics are a fond reminder that even the most far-out ideas can become cult classics. Number 7. Misfits of Science, 1985 to 1986. Misfits of Science was a superhero show without the capes, following a ragtag team of quirky individuals with strange abilities, like controlling electricity or shrinking in size. Led by the charismatic Dr. Billy Hayes, the Misfits took on crime and chaos with a mix of heroics and hilarity. Although it lasted just one season, it earned a cult following for its playful tone and offbeat charm. Think of it as an early precursor to the superhero team-ups we love today, but with that unmistakable 80s flair. What made Misfits of Science stand out was its sense of humor. Unlike many serious sci-fi shows of the time, this one didn't take itself too seriously, leaning into campy, feel-good storytelling. The characters were relatable in their imperfections, and the show's lighthearted vibe made it a joy to watch. Though it didn't get the airtime it deserved, its unique blend of comedy, action, and heart left a lasting impression on the lucky few who watched it. For 80s kids, Misfits of Science remains a fond reminder that being a hero isn't just about saving the day, it's about having fun while doing it. Number 6. Manimal, 1983. Next up is Manimal, a show with a wild premise that could only have come from the 80s. Dr. Jonathan Chase wasn't your ordinary professor. He was a crime-fighting shapeshifter who could transform into any animal to take down the bad guys. Need to fly? He's a hawk. Need to pounce? Panther mode, activate. Each episode featured new transformations, keeping viewers hooked with the question, what animal would he turn into next? Sure, the show was campy, but that was part of its charm. Watching Chase's transformation was a spectacle. The special effects, though primitive by today's standards, were pretty impressive back then. The combination of action, fantasy, and shape-shifting magic made Manimal unlike anything else on TV at the time. Sadly, Manimal only ran for 8 episodes, but it left a lasting mark on those who tuned in. It's remembered fondly as one of the 80s most ambitious oddities, proven that sometimes turning into a panther really is the best way to fight crime. Number 5. The Highwayman, 1987 to 1988. Next up is The Highwayman, a sci-fi gem that roared across the highways of a post-apocalyptic America. At the center of the show was the enigmatic government agent known only as the Highwayman, who patrolled the country's desolate roads in a futuristic truck packed with high-tech gadgets. Mad Max and Knight Rider had a TV, baby, this would be it. Complete with a gritty, dystopian vibe and plenty of fast-paced action. The Highwayman's truck was more than just a vehicle. It was a mobile fortress, equipped with everything from hidden weapons to advanced surveillance tools, making every episode feel like a thrill ride. Though the show only lasted one season, it developed a cult following among fans who appreciated its unique mix of mystery, action, and sci-fi adventure. For those who wanted something beyond the typical cop show, The Highwayman offered a wild ride with futuristic gadgets, secret missions, and a lone hero cruising through a dangerous world. It may not have hit the mainstream, but it's still fondly remembered by sci-fi enthusiasts as an action-packed escape into a not-so-distant future. Number 4. Riptide, 1984 to 1986. Riptide wasn't your typical detective show. It had boats, robots, and gadgets galore. The series followed Nick and Cody, 2 Vietnam veterans turned private investigators who set up a shop aboard their boat, the Riptide. But what really set the show apart was their tech-savvy friend Murray, a genius with an arsenal of high-tech gadgets, and even a robot sidekick named Robos. Together, the trio mixed classic detective work with a heavy dose of 80s technology to solve crimes. Often finding the solution with the help of Murray's gear. What made Riptide special was the chemistry between the 3 leads. Their lighthearted camaraderie made every episode a blast. While many crime shows of the time leaned heavily into grit and drama, Riptide embraced its fun, playful side, becoming one of the first shows to really explore how technology could play a role in detective work. Though it flew under the radar compared to some other 80s hits, Riptide deserves to be remembered for its unique blend of detective drama and sci-fi flair. It's a reminder of a time when all you needed to solve a case was a little teamwork, a lot of charm, and maybe just a robot or two. Number 3. Voyagers, 1982 to 1983. Voyagers took viewers on a time-traveling adventure where every jump through history brought excitement and maybe a little chaos.
December 6, 1941, Pearl Harbor, right on target.
Tomorrow that'll be a bad trip.
The show followed Phineas Fogg, a dashing Voyager tasked with fixing historical mistakes across different eras. Along for the ride was Jeffrey, a bright young boy with an impressive knowledge of history. Their secret weapon, a time travel device called the Omni, which whisked them to famous moments in history, from ancient Egypt to the American Revolution. Think of it as an early version of Quantum Leap, but with a family-friendly twist. The show was as educational as it was entertaining, offering young viewers a chance to learn history without realizing they were learning. Phineas and Jeffrey's adventures were filled with historical figures, lighthearted humor, and just the right amount of suspense to keep audiences hooked.
How did you know? Sometimes I get these hunches about people. I had a feeling Destiny had some plan for you.
Though Voyagers only lasted one season, its unique premise and educational value made it stand out in the crowded 80s TV landscape. For those who grew up watching it, the series remains a cherished memory, a reminder that learning about the past can be as thrilling as an action-packed time jump. Number 2. Sledgehammer, 1986 to 1988. Sledgehammer wasn't just a cop show. It was a parody with a bang. At the center of the chaos was Sledgehammer, a trigger-happy, overly enthusiastic cop who loved his .44 Magnum.
We got vermin on the roof, but I got an idea.
Who are you talking to?
Almost as much as he loved destroying everything in sight. The show was a spoof of the tough cop trope, channeling the spirit of Dirty Harry, but with absurd humor and action sequence so over the top you couldn't help but laugh. Sledge's deadpan one-liners and total disregard for finesse made him one of the most entertaining characters on TV. Whether he was blowing up buildings to make a point or sweet-talking his beloved gun, Sledge embodied everything ridiculous yet lovable about action heroes of the 80s. The show's self-aware humor and slapstick style made it clear it was all in good fun. Sledge wasn't saving the day because he was smart or strategic, he was just Sledge. Though it only lasted 2 seasons, Sledgehammer became a cult classic for fans of action comedy hybrids. Its over-the-top antics and refusal to take anything seriously keep it relevant today as a nostalgic reminder of when cops on TV had more explosions than paperwork and a whole lot of attitude. Number 1. The Powers of Matthew Starr, 1982 to 1983. Topping our list is The Powers of Matthew Starr, a show that combined sci-fi adventure with the everyday drama of high school life.
Bob Alexander, Matthew Starr. Matthew Starr,
Bob Alexander.
The story followed Matthew Starr, a teenage alien prince hiding out on Earth while developing his superpowers and dodging alien threats. With the guidance of his mentor, Walt, Matthew juggled the demands of high school life, like passing math tests and fitting in, with the much bigger responsibility of protecting Earth from intergalactic enemies. What made The Powers of Matthew Starr so unique was its clever mix of teen angst and science fiction. For many viewers, Matthew's struggle to fit in while hiding something extraordinary was all too relatable, even if most of us didn't have alien powers to keep secret. Though it only lasted 1 season, the show made a lasting impression with its action-packed storylines and surprisingly impressive special effects for the time. For 80s kids, The Powers of Matthew Starr was more than just a sci-fi series. It was a fantasy of escapism, showing that even an alien prince could feel like an outsider in high school. Whether you were tuning in for the otherworldly powers or the coming-of-age drama, Matthew's journey offered something for everyone, making it one of the most memorable hidden gems of early 80s television. Whether you remember all these shows or just a few, they remind us of a time when TV was bursting with imagination, innovation, and pure fun. These hidden gems may have faded from the spotlight, but they still hold a special place in the hearts of those who grew up watching them. What forgotten 80s shows do you think deserves a comeback? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this nostalgic trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. After all, the best way to keep the nostalgia rolling is to celebrate it together.